Look, we worked with the very simple locals, which are just strings. Some of it has a condition, but I want to create something more complicated with loops, with different environments. So I create a new locals block. Yes, we can create many locals blocks. Inside that locals block, I create VPC underscore setup, curly brackets, so it is a map, and it will have two maps. A map with maps, dev and stg. I need an input variable for that. I open the variables and I create a new variable environment. I write the description. It is deployment environment dot supported values dev stg. Very good. In new line, I write the type that this is a string and my input variables created. Here in the VPC setup, I need to create another blocks of variables. So first one is the string. It will be VPC seeder equals empty string. Another one will be subnets equals an empty map. What I do next? I go to AWS and manually create a VPC so that we have an example how to create it manually. So I'm inside the VPC dashboard. To get here in the search panel, you just have to write VPC and open this link. Go to your VPCs. Check that the region you are right now matches the region from provider's TF. I click create VPC. VPC only, tag is manual. VPC seeder is 10, 10, 1, 0, 24. You know what? Copy it. Sorry, it is 10, 10, 0, 24. Copy it, paste it in VPC seeder. Here I select no IP version 6. The tag is OK. Tenancy is default. Let's create a VPC. It was created. Now I want to define this VPC creation in my Terraform. So I open the documentation page, search for VPC, scroll down and find VPC resources. It is resources, VPC. I like the second example, copy it, paste it in main TF. Good. For seeder block, I write local VPC setup.dev.VPC seeder, that's this one. Instance tenancy, I remove this line because if you check the documentation, default is default. The tags is name main. I'm gonna create a subnet. If I go to subnets, by the way, this is my VPC manual. Go to subnets, create subnet, select my manual VPC, copy the seeder block, we will need it a little lower. I paste it here, and instead of 10.10.0.0.1, I select 10.10.1.0/24. I made a mistake. Here it should be 16. I will recreate fastly the VPC because I need it to be 16 there. I delete the current one. and I create a new VPC, VPC only, manual, write the seeder 10.10.0.0.16. It matches with this one. No tenancy, the tag is okay, create VPC. Go to subnets, create subnet, select my manual VPC, copy this line with the seeder, paste it here and write 10.10.1.0.24. Copy it, paste it here, underscore equals, seeder equals 10.10.1.0.24. This underscore, we will modify it later. It is just a placeholder till now. Later, I need a subnet name. It will be public manual. I open my locals. I write here name. It is public 1.1a. 1a, it is because the subnet which I select, it is 1a. Now I have to provide the availability zone. It is the region name and a at the end. So I open my providers file, copy the region. I write here availability zone equals. It is this way. So I defined a new variable availability zone, and the value will be EU North 1A, the same as here. I scroll down, create subnet. That's my subnet. I have a typo, but don't worry, I will delete that subnet in a minute. Actions, edit subnet settings, and I want it to be enable auto assign public IP version 4. In Terraform documentation, it is, I will tell you one moment. It's not here. It is in the AWS subnet. Let's come back to it later because I have to define it first here. Auto assign IP equals true. Good. Now I go to the documentation. On the left side, I select subnet, copy the basic usage example, paste it in main TF, and here I will write an iteration through a map. It is for each. I will put a link into for the documentation how to use it, but now we will tell that for each needs to iterate through a map. The map is local, VPC setup. This is VPC setup. Next is dev dot subnets. It will iterate through every map which I have here. The name of the first map will be public underscore 1.1a. VPC ID, it is the reference to my main VPC. Seeder block for the subnet, it is each dot value. When I write value, it returns me this map dot seeder. So I select this value. For the name, I write again each value, paste it here, name. Also, I need to provide the availability zone. Check the documentation, availability zone ID. No, I will use this one, availability zone, the first one. It's impossible to select, but I select it, paste it here, equals each value dot availability zone, copy, paste. And I also remember about auto assign IP. I search here the map public IP on launch. copy it, paste it, and it will assign a public IP when the subnet will be, when an instance in that subnet will be created. So I provided each.value.also assign IP. Whew, that's ready. Let's deploy it. Open Terraform, the terminal, sorry, clear it. Write Terraform apply. It asks me for an environment, so I write dev. It tells me that it's going to create the VPC and it's going to create the subnet. Before I write yes, I will remove the manually created VPC. Select manual, delete. It will also delete my subnet. I deleted it. Go to the terminal and write yes to deploy. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Still creating the subnet. It was created. Let's check what happened. Refresh the page. I see the main VPC. I see the seeder. It's the same as I provided in locals. That's this one. I have the tags. Name is main, creator Terraform. Go to subnets. Refresh it. I have public 1a. The seeder matches the value from locals. That's this one. The name also matches the value. Auto assign is on yes. And the availability zone is here, EU North 1A. Let's create the second VPC subnet. So it will be public 1C. Here I put C. Here I put 21. Here I put again C, and it is a public VPC, so it will have here true. I'm ready to deploy it. So open my terminal with Terraform, write Terraform apply, write yes, write dev. It will tell me that it's going to create a new subnet. The seeder is okay, the availability zone is okay, and the public IP will be assigned. Yes. Let's go to AWS to check what was created. Refresh the page, and you can see public 11C, seeder is okay, availability zone is good, the name is good, everything is good. Remember, in locals, we had this empty map STG. I want to create that. I copy the content from subnets, paste it here. And I want to modify it to have here a lot more options. The first one, public 1a, will stay here, but instead of 10, I will have 100. And it is because I need to copy VPC seeder, paste it here, and replace 10 with 100. The second public VPC will be in the region, in the availability zone 1B. So I replace here everywhere to be 1B. It will be 11 here, 10, 100, 11, 0. I want a private VPC. Instead of public, I write private. Availability zone will be 1B. And instead of 11, it will be 111. Auto assign, remove it. I want a second private subnet in the same availability zone. So I write private 2, 112, availability zone north 1B. And I want some small view subnet. So I create private short 1B. it is private short 11b, and the VPC, the subnet seeder will be 10, 100. It must come from here. This is 119.64. It is the value which should match the subnet mask. I did before a bit of calculations, so I know it is correct to match it. I save it, and let's count how many VPC subnets we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. It's time to create them. And one thing to notice. In main TF, we hard-coded everywhere that we want to use dev. Let's modify it instead of dev to use a reference to variables, var environment. This is how it will work. And this is how it will work in the subnet. Now, this line will fail because it will tell us that that the auto-assign IP doesn't exist in free subnets. I need to modify it a little bit. I write lookup. I will provide the documentation how it works. But in general, the first value we write the map, in which map to do the lookup. We provide the key, which key we want to extract. It is auto assign IP. And in case Terraform doesn't find that key, it should return a default value. In our case, it should be false. Tags are okay. Everything is okay. Let's deploy it. I go to my terminal, clear it, Terraform apply, write STG because I want to deploy to STG, and it will tell me that it's going to... It failed somewhere. I forgot the subnets map. That's better. Terraform apply again, STG for staging. It's going to add 6 resources and destroy 3. First, I see that the VPC main will be replaced because I modify the seeder IP. I see that my subnet 11c will be destroyed, and it will create a bunch of new subnets. Write yes to apply. Everything almost is created. Let's wait. All right, everything was created. Go to AWS. Check the VPC. You see main. I check the tags. I check the VPC seeder. It is 100. I go to subnets, refresh. And I have the private to 1B, which doesn't have an auto-assigned public IP, and it matches the seeder, matches the availability zone. Private short matches the seeder, doesn't have an auto-assign IP, and matches the availability zone. Public 1A and 1B both have the auto-assigned public IP. They have the correct seeder, and they have the correct availability zone. And the last one, private one, 1B, have the correct seeder, correct auto-assign value, and the correct availability zone. That big map, which we created here, and here, we can also find it in the Terraform state. Let's open that file. And look here. We have the AM policy, which we are not interested in. Close it. Subnet, instances, and here is a list with the index key, which came from these values of the map name. And we have the entire configuration, the seeder block, the tags, the map a public IP on launch. Another index key, the same, almost the same configurations, another index key, again the configurations, and at the very bottom, the last one is the VPC, and here is the configuration for the VPC. Let's check the Terraform, the Git state, and commit everything. Locals file is okay. Edit to the stage, variables is okay. Main TF is okay. Close those working trees and write the commit message objects in locals. Locals commit. I finished with all the commits. I'm ready to push them. So push. And everything was pushed to GitHub. Let's check it. I open my Terraform AWS beginner tutorial repository. I see 22 commits. And I see them here, committed and pushed today.